what a difference a year makes. Well, the events of the fall of 2008 and the subsequent crash of the stock market and the collapse of the housing market have changed the economic landscape forever. Our city, the place that we call home, has withstood some of the fiercest economic headwinds since the Great Depression. It's rough out there. As a Chamber of Commerce, I know that you are well aware of the many difficulties that our economy faces. As mayor, I see it every day. I see it in the collapse of our revenues, things like building permit fees, real estate conveyance fees, and inactivity in the commercial real estate market. I see it in a state budget that is close to collapse and calamity. In fact, its collapse could take municipalities across the state down with it if it's not addressed soon. I see it in the desperate eyes of those who are the least among us, the homeless and the downtrodden, who are looking for hope. I see it in the people who wait in my office scared that they lose their homes. Or maybe they lost their job and they just want some advice, they want a shoulder to lean on, and they want some thoughts about the future. I see in the eyes of our children who listen to the parents talk in quiet conversations late in the evening about their fears of losing their job or their fears of losing their home. Yes, indeed, it's rough out there. And I mention these things not because I want to depress you around the holidays, but because I want you to know that this is one person, this is one community leader that gets it. I understand that you, the private sector, are really the answer to many of our financial problems. Yet, in this current economic environment and climate, too often our state and federal governments have treated you like the enemy instead of our partner. And it's clear if we're going to move this country forward, if we're going to move our state forward and our city forward, that thinking must end. So as I embark today on a brief description of the state of our city, I want you to understand the context in which I make my presentation. First and foremost, Danbury continues to manage the economic crisis by practicing disciplined spending and strong internal financial controls. I've frozen almost all accounts except public safety and public works. I think we're going to need them tomorrow, right, Antonio? You got to if you can't get out of your house, claim Antonio. Check my blog. His phone number will be listed on my blog. I've deferred all hiring unless there is a critical need or an overwhelming impact to our budget. I banned all out-of-state travel for our employees unless the travel is paid for by an outside agency. I've stepped up our tax collection efforts throughout the city, and I know our tax collector, Scott Ferguson, is here. Scott, no boots in the parking lot. Go out there, give him the cutoff. I work cooperatively with our unions to reduce costs and eliminate the need for layoffs. I've begun the civilianization of our police department to reduce administrative expenses. And with the exception of bonding authorized by our city charter, I will not be bringing forward any bond requests for voters for the foreseeable future. Last year, we finished the fiscal year some $5 million under budget, and I intend to do the same this year. Our credit rating and our bond rating remain at an all-time high. And amazingly, the city of Danbury can borrow money at a lower interest rate than the state of Connecticut can. I should tell you something. Unemployment has indeed trended higher in the area, but we're still the leader in the state and much of the country when it comes to employment opportunities. Just yesterday, we learned that Danbury's unemployment rate dropped to 6.7%, once again the lowest in the state of Connecticut. In May of 2009, we cut the ribbon on our new police station for the second straight year. Our crime rate is the lowest in the state of Connecticut and one of the lowest in the country. And Chief Baker, I want to congratulate you and your staff for the work that you've been doing. Danbury was recently rated by Connecticut Magazine as one of the top cities to live in. We've improved in every category measured in the study. Our taxes are low. Our sewer and water rates remain the lowest in the state. Our city charter has been rewritten and adopted by our voters. Now our city constitution reflects the needs of a 21st century community with an updated and modern organizational charter. We have successfully tapped into the spirit and skills of our seniors who have participated in our SAVE program and have earned a much-needed property tax credit for their community volunteerism. In the fall of 2009, we opened brand new elementary school, Ellsworth Avenue, and completed dozens of drainage and road improvements across the city. The Main Street Renaissance Task Force is completing its work and will issue its findings sometime in the late spring. Our fire department has begun the planning for merging and streamlining our volunteer fire departments to become more efficient. We've added a new multi-purpose field at Rogers Park for use by our athletic leagues. The Connecticut Film Festival will be back for its 3rd year. And I see Joe DeSilva there. Yes, the Palace Theater is open for business once again on Main Street. Indeed, it's been a busy year for your city government. You know, last year I discussed the need for us to develop alternative revenue streams to help ease the burden on our taxpayers. Specifically, I mentioned that the city will move forward with the acquisition of the White Street Transfer Station through the newly created Danbury Solid Waste Authority. The idea was to turn our trash into cash. And Phyllis, my wife, thought of that. After all, public ownership of the transfer station ensures that there will be fair and level playing field for all haulers in the region. It ensures that there will be transparency in the operations of the facility and that the public good will be served. The city has met with the U.S. Attorney's Office as well as the U.S. Marshals over the past year, and we've been greatly encouraged by our discussions. We have engaged in a strategic partnership with Hudson Baylor, a national leader in solid waste management, to pursue the acquisition of the facility. If successful, Hudson Baylor will acquire all of the assets in the auction and then sell the transfer station to the Danbury Solid Waste Authority. This public-private partnership will minimize the risk of acquisition for our taxpayers and leverage the knowledge and the finances of the national firm acquiring the site. Due to the complexity and nature of the auction process, the discussions and negotiations are ongoing, and I anticipate a final resolution sometime in the late spring. We also look forward to a number of projects in Danbury to provide jobs and economic development opportunities. Just yesterday, the Barden Corporation hosted a job fair. For those of you who want to know, they are hiring. In the coming year, I know 2 large corporations that are planning for significant hiring initiatives. The city is currently completing negotiations on the transfer of 13 acres adjacent to the reserve that will be developed into a lifestyle center, a 400-seat independent film theater, a 5,000 square foot production facility designed to be flexible space for lease by the film industry, and several retail facilities will be located on this parcel. I anticipate that final transfer will take place in the summer of 2010. We've also begun discussions of the old police department and the adjacent parcels that the city owns around it. We have strong interest in developing commercial space integrated with senior housing on Main Street on that site. We have asked that the architectural design and specifications meet those of the new buildings to emulate the police station and the old jail. In both cases, the city will leverage the dollars from the sale of these properties to offset the decline in revenue and potential cuts in state aid. And within the next several months, we'll be rolling out our new city website called Danbury 2.0. Our new website will be more interactive for our residents. We'll even allow comments on there, although we're going to moderate it pretty heavily. We'll take advantage of social media tools such as Facebook and Twitter to communicate with our residents in real time. In addition, our new website will specifically highlight economic development opportunities in the city. Of course, the most challenging task we'll have in the coming year will be the development of our city budget. Both the city and our schools will be under significant financial pressure this year and for several years to come as we work our way through the current financial crisis. My office and the City Council will work hard to provide the best service possible given the challenging economic times. And as always, we'll make the tough decisions, keeping our eye on the bottom line. Recently, I had the opportunity to serve on a task force appointed by Governor Rell. Our charge was to recommend cuts in state aid for cities and towns and make recommendations to the legislature on costly unfunded state mandates. It became clear in the process that there's no room to cut municipal budgets. Remember, we don't have the luxury of printing money in the basement of City Hall, although I've thought of it a couple of times. And we can't run deficits. In fact, I've managed 8 straight balanced budgets, including this year's budget. The city of Danbury and the cities and towns that surround us are cut to the bone. So I'll once again appeal to the legislature to give municipalities flexibility in revenue generation, to incentivize us to work regionally, to redefine the relationship that exists between state government and your local government. And you'll be happy to know too, this will be the best news you'll have all day, that pursuant to Connecticut law, we are beginning to make preparations to start the next state-mandated reevaluation in the spring of 2010. Bud, did you get that? Bud Ollie? This is an example, though, of an unfunded mandate that will cost the city approximately $1.2 million to do. It's a classic example of spending money when you don't have to. If we conduct a statistical reevaluation this year, make the adjustments in real estate values reflecting current market conditions, it's only going to cost us $200,000 or $300,000. So, I'm going to be asking the legislature for more flexibility in the reevaluation process as well. The new property valuations will be used for the October 1st, 2012 grand list and will accurately reflect current market conditions. And while I've laid out a full laundry list of projects that we work on in the coming year, I've got to tell you, I'm most proud of our continuing work in the area of homelessness. Because the measure of our community and the measure of my administration should be how we care for the least among us. The completion of the 10-year plan to end homelessness was a milestone for my administration. We were one of the first cities in Connecticut to develop one. The designation of the Danbury Housing Partnership, led by Mark Nolan as the lead agency in its implementation, and the organization of the Dream Homes Community Center as an intake facility was an important step in the process. And just last month, we took a giant leap in bringing housing units online by cutting the ribbon on our first Veterans House for our homeless veterans. There were a lot of strategic partners in the creation and the first bricks and mortar effort in addressing homelessness under the 10-year plan. The Housing Authority, Paul Valeri, State Senator Mike McLaughlin, the list goes on and on. But the point is that we move beyond talk and we move to action. We've started to see real results from our plan by putting people in housing and in the process restoring their dignity. We also have had strong input and participation from our faith-based partners in attacking the problem of homelessness, most notably from the Jericho Partnership and Christian Communities Outreach Ministries, among many, many others in the city. 1 week ago today, we once again helped bring together Project Homeless Connect, a one-day fair at Western Connecticut State University for our homeless population that connected people in need of services with all of our strategic nonprofit partners. I really wish you were there to see this community work. More than one person was deeply moved and brought to tears by the care and compassion shown at this event. More than one client said to me that they thought that no one cared about them, that they were the forgotten of our community. Yes, Danbury indeed does take care of those in need. And I have to tell you, it's something that I'm really proud of and that we all should be proud of. And this holiday season, we've got a lot to be thankful for. We've got a first-class university with strengthening bonds with the city, including a new community initiative. We have one of the best hospitals in the country, with a dedicated and caring staff. We've got a terrific housing authority, a superior quality of life, low crime rates that are the envy of the country, and a vibrant business community. And we're becoming a leader in the cultural and arts activities as well. We've got a great police department, a great fire department. We have a great school system. Just this week, we received word that 4 Danbury High seniors, 2 brothers and 2 sisters, all in the same family, received early admissions to Yale University. I'm proud of Danbury. Being the mayor of the city has been and will continue to be the highest honor for me. It's a city I grew up in, the city I laughed in, the city I cried in, and the place that Phyllis and I have chose to spend our life. It's a place where you can meet people from all over the world. You know them by name and you share the joys of life with them. But we do it as one community, united in values and ideals that are uniquely American. While Danbury is challenged in this time of the Great Recession, I know that the strength of our community resides within each of us. I am particularly blessed to serve with a wonderful life partner, my wife Phyllis, who's here today. Phyllis, stand up and be recognized. You know, she actually picks up that's your father. That's what he looks like. But I have to tell you, she's carved a niche of her own in this community, caring for others, raising money, taking on nonprofit actions and initiatives to make this a better place to live in. So during this holiday season, I ask that you enjoy your family, enjoy your friends, enjoy our community. This is a great city and a wonderful state and the greatest country in the world. It's time to feel good about America again. So yes, we have a lot to be thankful for. As we enter this new decade in front of us, may God hold our city in the palm of his hand. May God bless you and your family. And above all, may God bless America. Thank you for your time.